Let's go. Let's go, everybody. Thank you for checking us out. We're here at KW NYC Group at the podcast room with our producer, Dimitri Lindo. Super producer, right? Dimitri, how you doing?
We haven't been on
he's
live
all right.
in a while.
He's all right. Good to hear. We got Mike Brown here.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, you're going live?
Just
Let's go
bit,
live, right?
live.
Yeah, go live. You know what? I want to go live too. Let's do it. Oh, no, you know what? I'm not going to. So you live? All right, he's live. So that means that we have to be very very cautious.
That's right.
Right? Very cautious in our languages. Okay, very cautious. So yeah. So we are here. I'm with Mike Brown, Rob Prasad. Everybody knows me, Rob the Realtor NYC. And we Brown Sugar. It's weird that you say Brown Sugar because your last name is Brown. So that is weird that you say Brown Sugar, right? But yeah, so we're here and we are talking about the last video that we shot today, right?
The overwhelming, no, not the overwhelming response, but
here's a question for me to you.
Yeah.
What would just be Whelmed? Right? if we have an underwhelming response and we have an overwhelming response, what's a whelmed response? I've never heard a whelmed response. Have you ever heard anybody, right? Have you ever heard anybody say, I'm perfectly whelmed right now? Like, no. I'm not overwhelmed, I'm underwhelmed, I'm perfectly whelmed. Right? Is that something?
You start using, I don't even think it's a word.
I don't, well, you know, we got to find out about that. But my question, we had I would say a whelmed response. It was a little overwhelming in negativity. That's what we wanted to talk about today.
But mostly negativity towards the landlord. Well, there seemed to be a clear, like...
yes.
And I get it, right? Like...
Everybody gets
bad guy. They're the boogeyman.
Right. Everybody gets it because New York City is such an expensive place, right? And it's expensive to rent. It's expensive to own. Everything about New York City is designed around money, right? And the reason why it's all expensive is because insurance here is crazy.
My insurance just went up. My car insurance alone, the household car insurance, it went up 50% to what it was last year.
50%.
Now, I do drive like Batman.
Right. Still, no, it's not Batman. You drive like you're being chased. That's the best way to describe Michael Brown's driving. And Dimitri Lindo will second that. When you sit in the car with Mike, you constantly look behind you like, who is after us? Right? Who is after us? Well, I don't understand, Mike. Did Mike have some kind of weird spy training that we don't know about for evasive driving? Like, you know, right? It is a real thing.
Brooklyn.
Right?
That's how you were taught how to drive.
In Brooklyn, there's too much traffic. What are you talking about? That's complete nonsense. You just drive. It is the burbs where you can speed. Yeah. But once again, cops are going to get you.
Yeah,
but whatever.
They're going to get you.
So Mike's talking about his insurance, which is quite
right. So my insurance, just my car insurance went up 50%, right? And my household insurance went up a little bit, but I don't know the exact percentage. But everything is up.
Everything's up. Oil is up, right? You have an oil burner, and that's a very serious hit.
I just replaced the tank,
right?
$8,000.
And some of these buildings have really big oil, right?
And I can't pass that cost to anyone.
Right,
I have to eat it all.
That's right. And here's the big thing, right? The big thing is we're at a point now when it comes to technology that 90%, I would say probably 100% of new construction, everything is self-sufficient, right? Yeah. So you have to pay for your own heat and hot water as a tenant. Yeah. Right?
Right. So, you see that a lot more now in new construction.
I can't remember the last time I saw something that I was given to rent. Maybe some people over here a couple of years ago where they were still paying their tenants heat and hot water. Yeah. Everything we do is all utilities belong to the tenant. Right. Everything we do. So my thing is that, look, we got a lot of people seem very frustrated with Mike and I because they said that we were pro-landlord.
No, not even pro-landlord. We were pro-slumlord.
No, pro-slumlord. That was the word, yes.
And I think that's where I was like, why are we lumping all the landlords into this slumlord category?
Which is complete nonsense.
That's nonsense. It's not fair.
It's not fair.
Right. Now, are there some bad landlords? Absolutely.
In every populace, you're going to have your bad and your good.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Right? The duality of that is that's life, right? You're going to have that problem. But as far as it goes, a lot of people, especially if they're, they live in a two-family home or they live in, like my in-laws, they live in a two-family home and they have some people that rent above them.
That's right.
And those people, when I met my wife and I was going to her house, like we were going to hang out, whatever, I would go to eat dinner with her family. The upstairs tenant was like family to them. Yes. The guy was at my wedding. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can see that in a lot of these
when my families, when my wife's younger sister got married, he vacated so that they could live up there. Right? They were a little bit younger. They needed some help. They didn't necessarily need some help. My brother-in-law does very well, so does my sister-in-law. Mm-hmm. But they saw it as a good angle to save to buy a house quickly. Yeah. And they did exactly that. Within a year or two, they were out of there.
Smart.
But my point is that these
Your
people.
Your father-in-law is not a slumlord.
No. Exactly the opposite. When
right?
people move out, he cleans. It's a just beautiful unit. But to be honest with you, I don't know a lot of slumlords.
I mean, I've grown up with a few. I've been in a few buildings.
So when you were growing up, you touched on a great point. When you were growing up, when 80s, you became 90s, when you became 50s, 60s, when you became aware of the issues with the landlord, right? How was that? Were they unkind?
So I remember my mom going to the super once, right? Growing up with the super, and when we needed something done, it got done.
Right.
Maybe it wasn't gold plated, right? But it was done. The apartments were always painted. They always cleaned the floor. Were things not as new? Maybe not. Maybe we got a refurbished fridge.
Right.
But I think they were good landlords.
Right.
Like outside looking in and now being adult, I think they were fair landlords, put it that way. And I think that's where I was kind of taken back with the comments, because it was like, I'm not pro-slumlord.
Right.
What I am is pro-business.
Right, which you are is pro-business.
I am pro-business.
We live in a capitalist country, and we act as capitalists, right?
That's right.
We are here and going through this aggravation, doing all the stuff we do every day to earn a living for our family,
That's right?
To buy the nice things that our kids and our family want,
and
right?
just the need. I mean, the bare necessities.
Right.
But this was the other thing, a lot of the comments were like, landlords are making money hand over fist.
And that it couldn't be further from the truth, right?
And it's probably because you may not know any landlords, personally.
Right. That's one of the things I hope for everybody at some point in time to buy something where they do become a landlord, so that they can understand what these people go through. In New York City, unless you have people in our office that inherited 100 properties, 100 units, right, from the time they were little kids.
Right.
Those people are making a lot of money, right?
They're making money.
They're making money, and that's a fact. That's a fact, right? But if you have the guy, like I always say, I stick by my dad, right? My dad had one 7-unit apartment building, 3038 Bronxwood Avenue.
Yeah.
Was an apartment building that we lived in when I was growing up.
So you were occupant operator. You
lived there,
operator, and that was that happened a lot in the Bronx and Brooklyn and Queens, where the immigrant population, they bought their multifamily and they lived there.
And they lived there, right? And they lived there.
At times got better, they went and bought a single family.
But
some still live there today.
Right. And some people keep the apartments or whatever it may be. My father, when he bought that building, right? Well, it was 1980. It was the year I was born. My parents bought that building.
Wow.
And we lived in that building till 1992.
Wow.
Right? When I was 12 years old.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm sorry. We didn't live there until I was 12. We moved out of there in the second grade, so I was 7. So I have 7 years of memories in that building, or a little bit less, right? But one of the things was that if somebody knocked on the door and there was a problem, he responded. My father's never been. Sunday was just building work. He would paint, he would plumb, he would do whatever he needed to do. He would do all of the things, and I would be right there with him, right by his side. And for decades, we did that. And I never, ever, ever remember anybody accusing him of being a slumlord.
Right.
But I do remember a lot of people screwing him out of rent.
Right.
Right, I do remember that.
Right.
I do remember that. And I do remember him having to let people go, people becoming violent, all kinds of various problems. Yeah. I've seen it from the bottom. And now people in our comments might say, well, this guy grew up rich. We were not rich.
Right.
My dad drove a Buick.
Right.
We went to school. We just weren't rich. We weren't. In fact, kids used to make fun of me because I never had the first time I owned a pair of Jordans, I was in my 30s.
Wow.
Right? I was in my 30s. The first pair of Jordans.
You hear that, guys? Like, let that sink in.
Yeah.
Like, we think that these landlords and the kids, they're rich and they're
right.
just making a living.
And the main thing is that they're trying to put something for their kids.
That's right.
Right? The angle is that maybe those kids, now my father doesn't own that building anymore. He sold it years ago. And actually, oddly enough, somebody here manages that building for the landlord.
Get out of here.
Yeah, it's unbelievable coincidence.
Yeah.
Unbelievable coincidence. But at the end of the day, I know, and every one of my uncles owns a house besides the house that they own. Right. Every one of them. I don't have one uncle that doesn't have their house and another house, and a 2-family or 3-family or a building or a 4-family or a small commercial something.
Right.
Right. Every one of them I have.
And again,
on
these
my
are
mom.
not filthy rich people. These are hardworking people that save their money.
Right.
You know, they don't. You know what's funny about the immigrant or they didn't go out to eat. Like you and I go out to eat every other day.
I would say, growing up with my parents, maybe once a year we sat in a restaurant.
It was someone's birthday.
Takeout.
It was somebody's
not
graduation.
even birthday. Not even that. It was just like, okay, they're going to take the family out. Like that was like it. Like we would go into the city. My dad worked in 96th Street at a Key Food that was on 96th Street. Mm-hmm. That's where he worked. So he knew a few restaurants over there.
Not a CEO.
No,
right.
No,
I love hearing you like.
He was a deli. He was a deli manager. Then he became general manager. Then he went to work for AMP in a managerial position. But ultimately, through the years, and look, all my dad's brothers, my uncles, not one of them are like. I got one uncle that's like I would kind of consider a corporate executive, right? Mm-hmm, and he's got 3 other properties that he lives in, and then. But the rest of them, one guy's an electrician, the other guy, my other uncle that owned 2 properties, he worked in the deli with my dad. He worked in the supermarket, right? Now, this goes to the idea of affordability, right?
Right.
This is what people could do.
90s, right.
This is what people could do. These people could have a family and still save enough money to buy a property. Today, people say it's impossible. Do I think it's impossible? Absolutely not. And for that, I will argue.
Right.
For that, I will argue. For that, I'm not.
It's not impossible.
I'm not sitting here and saying anybody has it any more hard or less hard than any generation. Yeah. I'm saying that one of the secrets that all of these guys preached, and this is a very serious thing, was that they got married young.
Yeah.
And companionship, their wives worked. If they could get work, their wives worked, and they worked as a team, and they saved money.
There you go.
Today, no one wants to get married, no one wants to have kids, no one wants to do any, right? Like, it's a weird
You need
spot.
a partner.
You need a partner.
You're going to build something big for your kids, for your family, for your you need a partner.
I will say this, and this is probably the the single greatest truth of my life. The way my wife has changed my life, I could never go back. The things that she has done for me, the way that she has helped in working and making money and helping us to save and doing all of the things, every step of progress she has been at the helm,
catalyst,
right?
Yeah.
Catalyst,
yeah.
Right? We have been in tandem working together for the betterment of our family, right? Now today, like I went recently to an engagement party. For and this goes to us being victimized for being in real estate. This is an interesting story. I didn't tell us
right because the comments, you guys,
yeah. You guys get paid by those guys.
Yeah. You guys,
yeah, we were accused of being paid. If somebody wants to pay us, we're available.
Right. I have a job.
Right.
This is my job. This is my career. I've been doing this for a long time.
Right. Yeah, a long time. Right. Long time. Many moons. Mike been on many moons. He started on a bicycle.
It's like those memes, those AI memes of like, I started in real estate. I sold Jesus his house.
Absolutely. But so this is an interesting story to what we were saying. I went to an engagement party. Wonderful young lady, wonderful young man got engaged a couple weeks ago. So I go to this party in Brooklyn. Now the gentleman, his friends came. They're in their early 30s to late 20s to early 30s. Mm-hmm. And well, maybe the oldest was like 36. I don't know. But, I was trying, the families were kind of I was trying to push the mingling thing, right? This gentleman is Jewish, the young lady's Guyanese, her family's Hindu, right? And, they coming together.
You're a good icebreaker like that. You're good at that.
Yeah. So I go in there and I start mingling with the people. I start talking to them. And I'm speaking to his friends. And one of his friends actually has seen the podcast.
No way.
Yes. So one of his friends, so he's like, I recognize you from that Keller Williams podcast. I was like, oh my God, this is the the first time this is happening. Right? Somebody else is watching it besides my wife and my sister.
My wife doesn't even watch my podcast. Shame on you, woman.
Oh no! Oh no! But yeah, so what ends up happening is he's like, so you don't think that real estate is too expensive in New York? Right, just like that. I'm like, "What's your name, buddy?" And I believe his name was Neil or something like that. And I was like, Neil, where are you looking to live? What kind of real estate are you asking about? Because that was something I was taught in Tom Ferry. When people ask you about real estate, right, dig deeper, right? One of the first questions that was asked, right, was like somebody says, "How is the market?" Right, and one of the first things I say is, "Which market are you speaking about?" Right. And are you talking about rental? Right. Are you talking about rental? Are you looking to purchase? Right. Yeah. Which market are you speaking about? Right. That's the next one. So I asked him. He says, "What kind of real estate are you talking about, my friend? Are you talking about one-family homes? Are you talking about multifamilies around here? Like, what are you looking for?" He's like, "I just want a one-family house with a backyard." I was like, "Well, that's a lot of them." Right. I was like, "A pretty big marketplace, right?
Depends on where you want to live, right?"
He's like, "I make pretty good money, and there's no way I'll be able to afford a house in New York." So I told him, I said, "Then move. No one's keeping you here. Yeah, go to Connecticut. Yeah. Go to Go to Connecticut. Go up to Jersey. Yeah. Go if you're really that hard up." He's like, "Yeah, but my job's here." I said, "Well, you're in a bit of a conundrum. Yeah. Right? Do you have a girlfriend?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Actually, I'm engaged." I was like, "Congratulations. Where does she want to live?" She's like, "She wants a house with a backyard too." So I was like, "Between the two of you," that's why I asked him. I said, "Between the two of you, you don't make enough money to get approved for a house with a backyard." Right. Right? So he's like, "Well, I don't know. Everything's so expensive." I was like, "So you don't know where you are?"
Right. You didn't even try.
Right. I told him, I said, "So we don't know where we are." Right? That's where we are. Right? He's like, "Well, we're talking about moving to Maine."
I love you said that though, right? Because some of you guys may be in your heads thinking, "I will never be able to afford," but you've never even tried. Right. You never even talked to a professional, never talked to a lender, never talked to a bank, never even ChatGPT'd it. "Hey, ChatGPT, how much money do I need to buy a house?"
Right. Well, I think that there's a string of problems here, right? The first problem is so I asked him, I said, "Do you have a lot of student loan?" He said, yeah. I said, "Okay. I agree with you. Going to school is expensive." Did you go? My question to him, if I was being really forthright with him, would say, "Did you go to school for something real?" Right? Like, did you go to school? Like, did you graduate? Or are you doing cat psychology? Like, what's the deal here? Right? Yeah, cat psychology.
Very specialist.
Yeah, niche. Yeah. Like, what did you go to school for? Right? That's my question. Because look, I've got cousins that didn't graduate from college and make $160,000 a year as project managers. Right? I got a cousin that makes even more of that. Some of the most successful people I know did not go to college, right? Which is a fact, right? Yeah. I also know people that make a ton of money that did go to college and have gone the distance, right? Graduate degrees, doctors, right? All that kind of stuff. So I know both ends of the spectrum. But one thing I could say is that everybody that I know picked a job that would make them money and found a way to go up the ladder. Right? Yeah. They found a way to go up the ladder. Like, my buddy identified that project management was a good job for him. He lives in a beautiful house in Westchester with his wife, his two boys. He's never spent he has a GED. The guy has a GED, and he makes at least $150,000 a year. Right? Yeah. Who moved to Westchester? Oh,
good point. Westchester.
Oh, but I mean,
Long Island,
Dimitri Lindo picking up for Mike Brown here on the Westchester versus Long Island debate, right? So yeah. He went to Westchester, so that one goes to Mike. Right? That one goes to Mike. But he's in Waikagill actually. Oh, yeah. But nice, beautiful. He's on that big strip over there, Pine Boulevard or something like that. Pinebrook Boulevard. Yep. But yeah, anyways. So, and this guy is as naturally smart as anybody I've met. He identified a field and he ran with it. Because you know what it is? It's that passion projects come when you're rich. Yeah. That's the difference, right? Passion projects, right? I don't know who runs around telling their kids this. Do what you love. You'll never work a day in your life. No, you got to work your ass off.
You be working a day in your life. The shit you love, stuff you love too.
Right. Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. I love real estate, but let me tell you, we put in a lot of work.
Well, we were saying that this is a great gig based on what happened.
I mean, look, I'm a decade plus deep. You're a decade plus deep. We have some luxuries that most are not afforded, right?
But back to what you were saying about picking a job, or picking a career, or picking something that you know you're going to make money in. And if that's, because I want to piggyback, if that's not the case, I remember working 2 jobs.
Well, there's that. Right? What did Chris Rock, in one of his best stand-ups, he says, I would work 2 jobs just to be broke at the end of the week.
That's right. That's exactly what it was.
That's what he said. He said, I would work. My dad, when my mom came into the country, she couldn't get a job. She was being sponsored, right? Yeah. And my dad worked 2 jobs. He had a baby. They were living in a hotel on the Grand Concourse. That's where they could afford to live. Yeah. And I have so many pictures of my house with my mom bathing my older sister in the bathtub of the motel room, right? So he worked 2 jobs, right? That's the thing. That's one of the realest things I've ever heard. You have 9 to 5 to work, right? When you get home at 6 o'clock, if you don't have kids and you want to have a life, I'm not saying I'm not saying that kids are the end all and be all. Please, I don't want the haters to come to me. Dinks, I'm with you. Right, no kids, you kids, no kids. I don't care, right? Make yourself happy. But what I'm saying is that if you don't have other responsibilities when you get home at 6 o'clock from work, from 6 to 10 o'clock, you're literally doing nothing. You're watching TV. Right? Maybe you're reading, maybe you do some laundry or whatever. Right. But if you have a Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, when you get home and people are like, I'm so tired. You want to be tired? You know what's tired? Those guys working on the bridge I drove by this morning. That's right. Right? That are in 95-degree heat with the hard hats on. That's hard People work. Always talk about, like, sometimes I feel like I'm sitting in my car in AC and I'm like, oh man, I'm so inconvenienced because of this traffic. Right? And then I see this dude out there with a jackhammer ripping his body apart, right? You know what I'm saying? Ripping his body apart, right? And I'm like, I'm not that inconvenienced, you know? Yeah. But I don't want to get too far off topic. It all ties together in kind of a weird circle that we're saying, look, the haters came for us, right? The haters came for us in the thing. They said that we were pro-landlord. It's not that we're pro-landlord, we're pro-business, right? We also...
I'm sorry. I get it. We're not here to convince you to be pro-landlord. Your experiences are experiences, and you feel that way for a reason.
Everybody's feelings are important
whatever reason that is, right? But we just want to give you perspective on. Like, I'm glad you shared your story about your dad, because I think people do think that landlords are these mystical unicorns that, are billionaires. They're not.
They're not.
Now, are there a few loaded? Yes, but your average landlord is a operator, owner. They live in the building.
That's right.
Especially here locally. Now, if you talk, and we're not talking about Manhattan.
So
that's a whole
yes. We're not talking. What we're talking about is is middle income New York. Yeah. We're not talking about the super rich, and we're not talking about the people that are unfortunate and horrifically struggling. We're talking about the general populace of people out there, two income households, working, 1 or 2 kids, paying their bills, and just looking to buy something else. Right. Every day we make phone calls and we speak to people that, I just want to buy something else.
I'm meeting a gentleman today, 5 o'clock. He's a mechanic.
Right.
Went in the military, so he's going to use his VA loan.
Right.
Looking for a house. $600,000 house.
Look at this barber that Emmanuel works with all the time.
The barber.
Right, the barber, right?
So how many properties does the barber have? The guy's he's always buying houses.
So he's into his second now, right? Crazy. He's into a second now. Like I said, my guy, he's got 3 families in the Bronx, right? Like, we are dealing in scenarios where people work, they save their money, they buy their first house, they buy the next, they buy the next.
But to your point, they save their money. I think it's how people use their money is what I think is the biggest factor to accumulating wealth.
Right.
I'm not here to lecture anyone on how they spend their money, whether they have too many margaritas.
You want to party, you want to spend your money, that's fine. Right. But remember something. 5 years from now, you're going to still be doing that same party, and the guy that didn't do that bought that house. That's right. Right, they bought that house.
The guy that cut back on Starbucks. You didn't see him go to Starbucks.
Man, it's so interesting that you say Starbucks. I have to tell you. Starbucks gets a lot of hate in the world for expenses, and I understand why now. I don't go to Starbucks. Now my younger daughter is becoming she's a preteen. Right? She's a preteen. She's 10, going on 20, and sometimes she hits me up for Starbucks. So the other day I got myself a nice coffee, and I got her thing, and it was like $13 or something like that. Something bananas, right? Something bananas. Like $15 or something like that. $15.02. That's what it was. It was $15.02. And I was thinking to myself, when I used to work on Wall Street, right, in 2002 and 2003, I was on Wall Street. I was on John Street, right next to Maiden Lane, okay? And And there was a diner there. There was a coffee shop there that sometimes I would go buy lunch from. And they used to do a cheeseburger and fries and a can of soda for $5, $4.99. And I'm driving back home to deliver this because I'm my children's Uber and Lyft. And I'm driving, and I was like, damn, I just spent $15 on coffee.
On 2 coffees.
On 2 coffees.
And if she goes back tomorrow, that's enough. Right?
Well,
Right? Just think about the daily.
Right now I can control her. Right. Right now I can control.
But as adults, right?
But
Think about that.
One of our good buddies that we know that got divorced, right? In his divorce, he cited his wife's Uber Eats bill.
Wow.
For Starbucks. She was a nurse, and sometimes she would work extra overtime, so she'd be for 12, 16 hours. He said that sometimes in a month, sometimes in a week, she would get Starbucks delivered to their job 3 times in one day, right? And he said that built up in 1 month, it was $1,100 in Starbucks. Right, it was $1,100 in Starbucks that was delivered.
I don't think people realize like those little habits that you have are completely derailing you financially.
Oh yeah, but look, we're not financial gurus. Right. We have our issues, right? We have our issues, especially when we got.
I have no issues.
Oh okay. My goodness, I only have one. But look, guys, we're gonna send off with this.
Yeah.
We are not pro-landlord, we are pro-business.
Yeah.
We are for the tenant. We help hundreds of tenants here at this office every year.
And all types of tenants.
And all kinds of tenants. We work with everyone. Yeah. What we want is for people to be understanding of both sides. Yeah. That's our argument. Right. We want the landlords to understand where the tenants are coming from. We want the tenants to understand where the landlords are coming from. We want people to understand that, look, as a tenant, yes, in New York, you have a lot of rights. You have more rights than a landlord. That's just a fact. I'm not saying it's untrue. But the landlord's singular right is to charge what they want to charge. That's it. Right? That's it.
You have the right to collect rent.
Right. That's right.
Right.
You are entitled to collect rent.
You know, one last thing that I want to talk about before we log off, though, because and this came up a lot, was that it's an investment, so you shouldn't be profitable. Or you're not required to be profitable, because not all investments you're profitable, right? So
I feel like that person fell and hit their head. I think that's the only way to describe such an asinine thing. Can I say that on here? Is that okay to say asinine? Right?
No, but yeah, I get where they're coming from.
Right. Well, I don't understand. People
like if you invested in a stock.
Right, but people invest in the game to make money, right? People get into the real estate game to make money. So if an investment is not profitable, what's going to happen is that somebody's going to sell it off. And you don't know the guy that's going to buy it. He could be one of these billionaire landlords that's okay with you not paying rent for a year, but you're going to be out on the street, or he's going to evict you. And then you're going to have to go out there. And to find an apartment with an eviction on your record, I don't know what it's like, because I don't deal with rentals, so I'm not saying anything's right or wrong. I'm not saying, from what I understand, you cannot view evictions any longer. Oh. Right? I don't think you can. I don't know. Wow. Nobody come for me. I'm just saying.
He's not not having an eviction on your credit score.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that
your credit score is being fair.
Right. And your credit score is going to take a hit. Yeah. Right? If you create problems for yourself in the housing sphere, it's going to linger. It's going to follow. Yeah. And moving is going to be really difficult after you get thrown out. Right? So, look, guys, let's all try to get along. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Everybody, like how we said, the things that were said to us were very audacious.
And guys, I mean, just put yourself, right? Put yourself in a landlord or potential landlord's shoes. You have $100,000 or $200,000 to invest in something. Right. You want it to make you money.
Right.
Unless you're a doctor, right? So we used to work with these doctors when we were in the Alliance for Progress, a non-for-profit. We used to manage buildings. And the doctors owned a lot of buildings because they wanted the negative K-1s. Or they wanted a negative, to lower their taxable income. Okay. Now, that's a small group of investors. Most investors, they want a return on their investment.
Well, there's a lot of reasons why people invest. Yeah. Legacy, return on investment, cash flow, tax depreciation, right? There's a lot of reasons. I'm with you. There's a lot of reasons why people invest. But ultimately, if you want to live somewhere, right? Like people talk about housing being a right. Fair enough, housing's a right. Put your name on the list for the projects. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. Put your name on the list for lotteries, and hopefully you get chosen, right? That's a right. That is the sphere, the realm in real estate where housing is considered a right. You can get a place for a couple $100 a month, just no operating cost. If you get into the lottery, if you get it. But I don't understand how my purchase is your right. That's my question. How is my purchase your right? Right? That's my question, right? If I go out and I buy something, I buy that 2-family and I come to you and I say, look, and you come to me and I give you the apartment and then you can't pay rent, right? How is it your right to live there, but I'm entitled to pay the bills?
Your
right?
heat, your water.
Right.
And just as an adult, right? I don't want anyone paying for my
I'll take it. I'm in. Somebody wants to pay for my stuff, I'm here. You guys know where to find this, 2300 East Chester Road, right? Anybody wants to give me some free stuff, I'm in.
Oh, man. But, I always go like, I don't want nobody paying for it.
I'm the same way.
I like to do my own thing. Mostly because I just want to use it the way I want to use it when I want to use it. I don't want anyone saying, hey, Michael, you're using too much water. Hey, you're using too much electricity, whatever. So from that perspective, man, I just didn't grow up that way.
Why? Well, look, we grew up in a time where, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong. I'm saying this is how Mike and I were raised, where men were supposed to be men. You went out, you worked, you earned a living, right? You paid for things, right? That you you went out with your family, your wife, your kid. Like nobody paid for anybody. Nobody paid for your family. You cared for your family. You made your money. You lived your life. Like we grew up in that
That's
time.
how
we're
I
not
grew up.
saying
right.
that it's
right
or
good,
wrong.
Right.
We're not judging anybody, and we're not pushing our view here. I'm saying that that's how we were raised personally. Yeah. And I know that Dimitri Lindo was raised the same way too, and this is just one of those things. Ultimately, from our perspective, we want the landlords to be able to make money. We want the tenants to be treated fairly, and we want the balance of people understanding landlords buy things to make money. Tenants need places to live.
That's right.
They're fulfilling a demand.
There's a happy symbiotic relationship happening as long as everyone fulfills their need. He provides a clean, safe, habitable place. You pay your rent.
Right. And for those landlords that don't do that, shame on you.
Absolutely
shame on you.
Yep.
Shame on you.
We do not support that.
It is so wrong to have people living in a place where you're collecting rent from them and you're not taking care of.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
That is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous thing. What's your house like?
Yeah.
I want to know that, right? If you're not willing to get, Roy, what's your house like?
Good point.
But yeah, so guys, on that note, we're signing off. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, guys.